Hey there, this is my version of ED Contagion. There's a bunch of different versions of this build that go around, and I feel like I've hit a pretty good medium with my passive tree where I have good coverage for temp chains so that I can hit the whole screen. I have good mana sustain by getting cost efficiency here and not taking this on my main cast. I get a bunch of AoE for contagion. I know I saw a steel mage running the projectile chaining thing where he hits walls and it explodes. I really like Sion's temper, but I didn't feel like the wall chaining was really that necessary. Let's go ahead and I'll show you what it looks like in a map. I just don't have to ramble anymore. Take a gander at it. I'm just going to uh, do some pathing towards where I need to go for my setup, but I'll show you what it does. Primarily clears with Essence Drain and Contagion. I use the Cursed Ground trick with Decaying Hex to use my totems without having to like spam Contagion on everything. It makes things a little bit easier. And what I mean by that is uh, with Despair, I have Cursed Ground and then Decaying Hex, which puts a chaos damage over time. Dark Effigy, the totem, will target and fire projectiles at enemies with chaos damage over time debuffs, specifically chaos damage over time debuffs. So this works with Decaying Hex, it works with Contagion, it works with Essence Drain, it works with, if you disable your Coalescence and you put in Ravenous Swarm, it works with your Ravenous Swarm poisons, which you can have 2 of for single target. I'll cover that later. But it makes mapping for things like Abysses pretty standard, really easy. You'll see that when we get to it. Also makes things like Rituals really easy, which is what we'll see here. So basically how this build does Rituals is I put down 2 Cursed Grounds, I hit the Ritual, I summon my totems, and I just stand here, and the Ritual gets cleared. And that's it. This build was literally the most AFK brain, super nice mapper there is. Map with Contagion, because Contagion's really strong. A lot of people like to do this projectile shit where you get like extra projectiles and you have a chain against walls. I find that if you use your Contagion second tree to get a bunch of area like here and area here and some duration, Contagion mapping feels just as good. You'll have these like really long distance Contagion chains and they'll just spread throughout everything. So once again, you can see like how free rituals and stuff are. Just kind of stand here and let the totems go. They'll target everything that spawns because it's all on the Cursed Ground, and ritual's done. So yeah, this build handles like pretty massive clear really well. That's really straightforward. It runs really fast. It does a lot of damage. So this is the mapping. I'll probably jump out of this map. Oh, here we go, speed shrine. That'll make it faster. So the single target is pretty good as well. We utilize Chaos Bolt to get our wither stacks up. A lot of people are using the auto wither in your presence. The only issue with that is if you look at presence radius, I'll see if I can find where it is. I'm not sure where it is in my stats, but anyway, the presence radius is actually really small. As you can see, these things get withered when I walk in, but like something over here, this isn't withered yet, and I walk towards it. Now it's in my presence. So this mob just got into my presence super close. I don't actually really find myself standing on top of rares that much, so having withering presence is not really that useful. I find just using Chaos Bolt on single targets good enough, because if you're on the single target, you're just hitting Chaos Bolt anyway, so it's all the same. But yeah, the build's really tanky. It's using the low life trick that most people do, where your life can't move and stuff's bypassing ES. I have the Disdain helmet, and yeah, so that mixed with capped res and some immunities makes this build really comfortable. I'm using Darkness Enthroned with reduced crit and reduced curses. This basically makes me temp chain immune. mixed with this node on the tree here, I get just one of these. It puts me at 94% curse reduction, which pretty much solves all of the curse issues. And then with a megalomaniac that I have here, it gives me crystalline immunities, which is down here, which says if I have blue majority, I'm chill immune, which is great. Now this build, because we're lich and we have our energy shield can't change and our health can't change when we have energy shield, things like bleed and poison, which completely bypass energy shield and go straight to health, just have no effect on us. So we're effectively poison immune, bleed immune, chill immune, curse immune. We're running ignite charm and freeze charm and shock charm, so we're pretty much immune to all that too. Just in case the shock charm goes down, one of my megalomaniacs also gives me 2% max lightning res, so my lightning res is a little bit better. But yeah, this build is just like really comfy, really smooth. The reason I path down to monk here is because we have really good access to movement speed. So with controlled metamorphosis, which is actually really cheap, it's like 1 div, you can pick up spaghettification, hilarious name, but 3% move speed and good damage, good attributes. Kite runner, I basically get this for proj speed and move speed. Projectile damage doesn't really do anything, gives us a little bit of chaos bolt buff and a little bit of totem damage on effigy, but really good node regardless. You can pick conservative casting up as well in the same ring, which is super useful. And because I want to come down here and get this ring, instead of pathing any other way, I can path by monk and get the infamous 4% move speed here, 3% move speed here. This is really strong setup because it's a bunch of cast speed, mana regeneration, really good energy shield, and then move speed and more mana regeneration. It gives you some stats too, which ultimately will give you more mana. And I feel like this is a really underutilized area on the tree, specifically with this jewel for this build. A lot of people should be pathing down here, but they don't. But that's besides the point. I still have enough points to come up here and get the low life cast speed, which is really common on this build. Basically, the reason you'd go low life is for 2 reasons. It's for Final Barrage, which is 20% cast speed on 1 node, which feels really good. It's also for... There's one other thing on the tree that it gives. Oh yeah, it's here. So when you're not on full life, you get quick response to get a little bit faster start of energy shield response. But the main reason you would go low life, or at least specifically on this build, is it allows you to use execute, which says hits on it, but for whatever reason, it functions on essence drain, damage over time. So you can see it's 80, and I take it out and I look and it's 64. So yeah, it still functions on it, which is great. You'll see how abysses work here. It's the same thing. You put down the cursed ground, you put down your totems, and you can just kind of stand here and everything explodes. This build has so much damage with triple totem, and I'll explain how to get all that a little bit later in the video, but I just want to go over how comfortable this thing is to map with. You may notice I'm freezing some things as well. There's a really cool new support they added called Chaotic Freeze. I keep it on Contagion. Reason I keep it on Contagion is because it's like a support thing, and I have all the damage nodes and everywhere else, so you want it on Contagion. Really easy thing to get up. So there it is. And it makes it so hits freeze, right? So hits do build up, and the only thing that really is hitting in this build is your Chaos Bolt, right, and your Totem. So we'll go and we'll do a quick boss really fast, and then we'll see what's going on. Anything else I missed? All right, we'll go check out a boss, and I'll show you the single target. There is a small gem swap for the single target. It's not too difficult though, or too aggravating. It's pretty straightforward. We'll do omens. Basically, all you do is you switch Scions for Deliberate and Considered for Chain, and then turn off Covalescence and turn on Ravenous Swarm. That'll give you 2 extra debuffs that the totems will target and fire more projectiles. Along with things like Maim, it slows down the boss a little bit more. So we just build up our mana thing, throw down everything, and then we just ship, and he just gets chunked. Like this is just the dot damage from Essence Drain doing damage to him right now. But when he comes down here, we'll just chunk him out. Get our totems down, make sure our curse ground is down, make sure our mana thing's down, build it up. Here he comes. Come on, buddy. Does he want to come down? Coming. Here he goes.
You are seen.
Okay, so he's chunked. He's probably going to send us to the zone. Oh, is he not? There he goes. Okay, but yeah, you can see the damage is pretty good. We get a lot of debuffs out once we get our Sigil of Power down, which is in our offhand. Just a staff with Sigil of Power. We then put down our Despair Curse, drop 3 totems, and spam Essence Drain and Contagion. So Sigil, Curse, Totem, 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 Essence Drain, Contagion, and then spam Chaos Bolt, and he'll just fall over. And so we just stand here. We don't even have to move. He's just going to die before he can do anything. And there he goes, and he's dead. So that's the damage of the build. It's pretty good. The mapping's pretty comfy too. And yeah. I'm going to go over the gear a little bit because the gear gets a little intricate. So first major thing is how do we get our damage? So we get our damage from 2 ways. First, our offhand uses Sigil of Power. This is really good for single target. That's about it. As you'll notice, even on clear, when I have full Sigil up, I'm doing 133. If I switch out my single target, you'll see it goes up to 216k. That's not amazing, but it's not like your YouTube one-shot build, but for a dot, that's a lot, right? That's 1 million every 5 seconds, not including full Wither stacks, not including our Despair Curse, not including our Effigy also doing damage, our Chaos Bolt also hitting, and Contagion also being on it, which Contagion really doesn't do a lot, but as you can see, like we have quite a bit of damage. You saw from the boss, it drops pretty fast. Okay. So we have Sigil of Power, that's one. Obviously we have curses, we have Despair, right? We're using the Dark Effigy with the debuffs, I already explained that. But most of it comes from the gear, right? So we have the shield. Now this shield is not hard to craft. You can profit craft this shield. I have a notebook, a notepad that explains not how to make the shield, how to make the wand, but how to make the shield is the first thing you look for is you look for a shield that has literally just any prefix, cast speed, and chaos res. Then you use a omen to make the essence hit the prefix alone, right? So you use an essence to make it hit the prefix alone. And after you do... Oh, my shield's sold. Nice. Okay. After you do that, you'll have the 3 suffixes here, right? So you started with cast speed, chaos, and a random prefix. You used Essence of Sorcery with an omen to target the prefix, so now you have 3 suffixes and nothing else. Now, because you have cast speed and all skills and chaos res, the only prefixes you can roll if you use a homogeneous omen is spell damage and chaos damage. You can't roll anything else. It's literally just those 2 options. There's nothing else that can roll. So you use a perfect exalt, homogeneous, and one of the exaltation omens to guarantee 2 hits. This is a pretty expensive step. I would say it's probably like a 3 div step, but it will guarantee that you hit at least tier 3 of chaos or spell damage, chaos and spell damage both, and then you'll have 1 prefix open. You'll use a desecrate, and hopefully you identify totems. If you don't, you can profit sell it for like 5 or 6 div and go again. Ultimately, you'll end up with a shield that looks just like this. Really, really easy to hit, so not difficult at all. The really difficult thing to get is the wand. The wand is really hard. I'll explain how to do that after I explain the amulet, but the wand is the hardest part. The amulet's super easy too. In the same vein as you craft the shield, you want to start out with cast speed and a defense roll on it. That's all you really want, cast speed and defense. what you want to do, or cast speed, defense, and spell damage is ideal, right? So, for instance, on this, I started with 57% max energy shield. Somebody had already fractured the spell damage, so that was great. And then it had 25% cast speed. So, this literally just had 3 mods on it when I got it: spell damage, max energy shield, cast speed. What you do is uh, you use a perfect exalt and a homogeneous and a double exaltation, and you slam it, and it'll fill up. And the only things that it could possibly fill when you have these stats is it guarantees to hit +3 in the suffix, and it guarantees to hit another defense in the prefix. Uh, then at that point, you can like YOLO essence it, or you can use any sort of desecrate, whatever, right? You guarantee to hit these 2 mods, and you're chilling. I decided I hit like a really, really low flat because I didn't use a perfect. I used a greater, so I hit a really shit flat. So I used an essence to YOLO it on the prefix, and I ended up getting global defenses instead of the flat, which was fine. So I kept that. And then when I desecrated my suffix, I got cold and chaos, which was great because I needed resist anyway. So this one worked out really well. Rings are primarily just a little bit of chaos damage and a bunch of resist and rarity. Ideally for this, I would have life instead of accuracy, but you get what you get. And then this could have way better rarity, but whatever. Gloves are pretty much your biggest flex slot. Now, a lot of people are running the wither effect and 3 sockets and a bunch of shit. I mean, that's great, but you really don't need it. This is kind of like your throwaway slot. Use it to fill up your resist, use it to fill up a little bit of mana, use it to fill up gain mana on per enemy killed. Mana per enemy killed is really nice. If you get it on your gloves here, you don't have to get it on a jewel. And as we'll see in a little bit, the jewel socket suffixes are pretty tight because you only have 1 jewel, and you really need to make sure you hit cast speed and stun. So you want something like this: cast speed and stun as the suffixes, and then the prefixes being like ES and chaos are ideal. If you corrupt it and you hit something cool, great. I have another one that I'm trying to sell that has like lightning res on it. So, go through a couple of them, try and figure it out, but eventually you'll hit something nice. Boots are effective socket and just movement speed. That's it. It's just res, movement speed, effective sockets for more movement speed when you're on low life. Another reason to be on low life. Really straightforward. The helmet is Zeri sustain. You can get this Vald for higher percent life. It's totally fucking pointless. Getting it from 10 to 11 to 12% bypass is also good, but at the same time, once again, kind of fucking pointless. You have 13 KES on a setup like this, and you don't need anything else. As far as the runes go on this helmet, you could do something like cursed enemies have minus chaos res, but you don't need the damage. So just kind of use it to fill in your resistances, right? If you're using a metamorphosis, it's going to be a little hard to fill out your resistances. You can see mine are like just barely above cap. And even when I switch over to use my contagion, my chaos res isn't capped, right? So it's like there's definitely a lot of room here to get more res and upgrade your gear. One of the biggest defenses on the build is this belt. So this belt has it's the new Darkness Enthroned. It uses effective sockets, and I specifically did body armor because I wanted to conquer 2 things. Right? I hate slows. Slows suck ass. So I wanted to get rid of temporal chains. The only way to really get rid of temporal chains effectively is to remove curses. So that's why I wanted to go and get this reduced effect thing for the body armor runes. So that gives me 79. I also decided to get this node here, which gives me an extra 15%. So this is 94% curse immune, or curse reduction. So basically curse immune, right? 6% of a curse is not going to do anything. So whatever. And then I also got hits have reduced crit damage bonus. This is mainly because I'm just running whatever fucking map I get, right? The way I roll maps is I roll them in mass, and I don't look at the mods. And I never want to look at the mods. There's no reflect, or I mean, if there is reflect, I don't even know if there is, because this build can do it, no problem. It can do crit, it can do extra damage. It's basically immune to everything because of the charms and how fast you kill stuff. You get your charm charges back fast. What else is there? Let me look at what I wrote down. So how the build maps, we did that. How the build survives. Oh yeah, so one of the big things is obviously the health pool is fucking huge. But hey, look, 18. We also have really good recharge rate. That's one of the things we focus on getting. We get a wheel here, which gives us good recharge rate. This wheel honestly is not as good as Soul Bloom. I really don't know why I have this wheel. I should respec it right now. This will bring me from 34, and it'll probably put me way higher.
Another strategy.
This is a discovery, right? You know, build in progress. So that put me from 34 to 32. Okay, no, this is worse. All right. There was a reason I had that. Anyway, we get some recharge rate. We get more recharge rate, faster start of recharge rate, faster start of recharge, faster start of recharge, more recharge. Eventually, I will get Mystic Stance for even faster start of recharge. So we're down at like 1.3 seconds for the recharge start, 1.8 when we're in main stance. I'm not sure why. Oh yeah, it switches because of the focus. But anyway, 1.8, pretty good. Huge life pool, capped resistances, the crit immunity, all that. Because we have all this like bypass, we're effectively getting 25% reduced damage taken all the time, which is great because that's the bypass, right? Damage redirection. This is 25% fizz, fire, cold, lightning, chaos. Just gets completely nixed out because our health can't move. And then resist take care of the rest. We don't really care about fizz damage solely because our health pool is so massive. That's about that. I went over the immunities. The last thing to think is like what to do to make the build better. There's a few things that I plan on doing on the build. Is one is making an even better wand. I think I can definitely hit a mirror tier wand this league. I have the steps written down. If you want to screenshot them, I'll flash them on the screen now. But this is pretty much the setup for how to get it. It's in here, right? Feel free to read it. Otherwise, there's things I can do about getting like socket effect on my gloves, getting a higher percentage darkness enthroned. Ideally, I'd get 120%, and then I would drop these two nodes. And then that would also make me further crit immune. I would get a better chest piece. This could easily hit 1200 if I had another socket on it and I had better rolls. I want to get 35% 3-socket boots and get more movement speed. I eventually want to get what's it? Oh, I eventually want to divine this up to 15 spirit and drop the clarities so I can run covalent or convalescence and ravenous swarm. That would be pretty nice. Or drop both clarities and run enfeeble with temporal chains. That would also probably make up for covalence, right? So if I dropped this, for instance, and dropped both clarities, and then I ran like enfeeble, I think that would probably make you a little bit tankier if you really wanted to do it, but I don't know if it's absolutely necessary. You can still run it with the spirit, and if you go into a map, you're just basically going to be immune to damage because the effectiveness of our enfeeble is insane, right? 32% less damage. If you quality this, it'd go to like, I don't know, some ridiculous amount. But even on bosses, right, it's like 16, 17% reduced. And this doesn't even take into our magnitude, which we have so much curse magnitude, right? We've got curse magnitude over here, right? 666. And then we've got another 18% here. These are in both sets. We've got curses down here. We've got curses here. This is a phenomenal wheel because it gives us hinder. Hinder gives us more damage based on this node. Wait, one of these nodes gives us hinder. Yeah, well, one of them gives us more damage based on stuff that we've hindered, so that's great. It's somewhere in here in the build, but it stacks a bunch of different things and gets really good damage, and it's very comfortable to play, and I really like this build. A few things to change, right? Upgrade the wand, upgrade the amulets, prefix, get a better belt, get a better chest, get better gloves, get better boots, maybe get like a crazy fucking helmet with like 12% and 3 sockets. Imagine that. Shield can't really be improved too much. Maybe get one that doesn't have chaos res and find chaos res somewhere else. As far as the tree goes, I mean, leveling up 3 more times, getting 100 would be pretty nice. I'd be able to drop these eventually if I switch the belt, and then that would give me 5 more points. With 5 points, I don't really know where I will go. I'm considering just pathing straight to this jewel socket and dropping one other node somewhere, right? Like if I dropped overzealous and I pathed here, I would have an extra point. So I'd have 1, 2, 3, 4. I would have to drop one more point somewhere else, and then I would be able to get another jewel socket, which would be really good. I'd probably, I don't know what I would get and put in there, but I get something. I could upgrade Prism of Disbelief to +3. That's going to be crazy expensive, but I could do that. I don't know. I think that's pretty much it. Like the build is pretty much set up and done. There's really not much to do other than upgrade pieces and spend a whole bunch of currency. I've done everything in the game on this. I've done all the map bosses. I've done Arbiter. I've done Arbiter Uber. I've done all the bosses. Right, filled out the Atlas tree. I've done all mods, all special shit, all the unique waystones that are challenging, and nothing has even brought this build down at all. Right, I've died a few times. Mainly the deaths are from getting surrounded, or well, a lot of them are for the campaign because this is my first time actually playing POE2. But the only deaths and maps are when you get surrounded completely and you can't do anything. Part of that was earlier there was a bug where you couldn't roll if you were surrounded by a certain mob type. They fixed that, so that helped. And other times is just you're just surrounded and you can't move. That's why I feel like Covalescence is really strong, because if you're surrounded and you can't move, you can take a deep breath and just use Covalescence and then use your Essence Drain, and you'll have so much damage that everything will just die, so it doesn't really matter at all. But yeah, that's that, right? Not a lot of crazy shit. Pretty straightforward build. I think I covered everything. Not all the sockets, right? You can PoE Ninja my character name if you really want to, a stupid idiot weirdo guy. And then you'll find me, and then you can look at my gear that way. But this is pretty much it, right? It's good. It works. Yeah, we won.